The assets were solid. I mean, of course, it looked like Unreal Engine, right? Your your modern home design. The lights were in positions where it made you walk to places that you didn't want to walk to, but once you figured out the rotation of the home, I guess, you know, you figured it out. That said, I think that the finding the last fuse, that's on me. 100% on me, because I looked in that room 5 or 6 times. Like, I looked in every room 5 or 6 times and like did not see. I don't know. Looking too hard, I guess. Anyway, as far as like make the game like scaring you, it did. The environment, the atmosphere, the creepy walking around and stuff, never knowing where the ghost was, the fact that you couldn't say anything, or if you did, you had to risk it, and the ghost would talk to you, and that would trigger her popping up. No lights in the living room kind of got to me, or being able to turn on the lamps kind of got to me. Loved the dog. The dog was awesome. The fact that you could, like, once you figured out, hey, okay, I've got to go to the computer and check the cameras, that was cool. Finding the fuses in the dark was really cool. Lighting is a tricky thing. Lighting is a very tricky thing whenever you're designing these levels in the game, because it wants to bounce off all these surfaces and it wants to reflect, and every single thing that you put in there, every single asset has its own effect on the way that flashlight behaves. It looked good. It looked really good. Like, whenever you were using the flashlight consistently, but on off was a little tricky, and then distance with the flashlight was a little tricky. So well designed, good assets, less wind, more rain outside, maybe. Just because, I mean, you lose immersion in the product whenever you introduce a hurricane or stronger than hurricane like weather and people walking outside in it. I mean, they're not doing that. The neighbor checking up on you was cool. The fact that they incorporated some extra stuff on the computer, it added to the story, just not too much. The game's a short game, so solid, solid 3 hours of play. But yeah, I'd say, like, pros of the game, you've got very well designed assets. The immersion of the flashlight system, the movement of it is really awesome. The entity, the ghost, was creepy. The treasure hunts were good. The rooms were well designed. The story was solid. I mean, there were parts of it that just didn't really go anywhere, like, at least that I've seen yet. So anyway, those are the positives. Good design, good assets. The story, like, seemed immersive and smooth. It looked really good. The flashlight parts were cool. The light, the way the light behaved was cool. The ghost was cool. Oh yeah, and the dog was awesome. Cons, I would say the addition of the computer affair thing, okay. That's an extra part of the story. You're bringing together multiple stories, right? I don't know, the story just kind of, it went a little everywhere near the end. Right, like, okay, I'm with you. The 80s, the fire of the 80s. The Susan thing. There's an affair mixed in there. They got the dog. A lot of moving parts that almost jarringly jumped from like one thing to another. But I mean, to say this was made by one person, you did great, dude. I enjoyed the game. I was annoyed with that last fuse, but that's on me. And then I think the final thing that I would say would be this. This is not the game, okay? The game is the horror, suspense, puzzle, stuff like that. That's the game. The end combat sequence, I would make whatever happens quite a bit more definite in terms of TTK. And what I mean by that is this. In the engagement, I think that you should play on the fact that your audio is really good, that your lighting and stuff is really good. You don't have to show me my health on the screen. Just make the combat, make that fight be quick. If I shoot him 5 or 6 times, 2 or 3 shots in the head, 3 shots in the body, should be done. He shoots me twice with the shotgun, should be done, right? And I tell you what, make it even more interesting. He shoots you once with the shotgun, you fall to the ground. The rest of your shots are just from the ground. Yeah, you're injured, right? 2 shots, you're done. 4 shots from the pistol, I say 5 shots from the pistol with a headshot counting as 2 body shots. Yeah, you want 5 total hits. 5 body shots, 1 headshot, 3 body shots, 2 headshots, 1 body shot, or 3 headshots. I think then your final engagement would be like very real. Very real. And that's what you want. I mean, the game is very realistic. It's hyper realistic. That said, I give this horror experience, I have to judge it harshly, okay? I'm going to give this horror experience 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. Fantastic game. Loved it. One of the best experiences like it that I've had. It reminded me a lot of PT. It reminded me a lot of like your Silent Hill type, Resident Evil type games in first person. So I give it a 7 out of 10. The things that I thought were great were the attention to detail in the environment, the dog, the mixed elements of story, even though they didn't go very far, and the ghost was very cool. Not much to say that I didn't like. The stories didn't really go very deep. The ending was confusing. The gunfight was rough. The light behavior was a little tricky. Those things though aren't like, they don't break the experience. They don't break the experience. But what I will say is, like, you get to a certain point where after being killed by the ghost so many times, you're just like, okay, whatever, finish me off. The verbiage, I don't know, I only played the English version, but the verbiage of the stories were good for the most part. The password part was a little confusing, but you know, all in all, great experience. I would even say 7.5 out of 10. This has been one of the coolest horror experiences that I've played in a while. It had me terrified at the beginning. So, good on you. Very, very good on you.